Erase literally ruined my life.
I'm just zoning out and drooling when we watch anime.
I'm sad that so much animation talent is wasted on something like that. Because all the girls are super pretty and shiny. Apparently that makes you hard. Yuki Aoi can insult me all she wants. Because that sounds good to me.
At least we hated it together.
I'll be your contradiction. Hello and welcome to the very first ever Podcasting is More episode. This podcasting series will mainly be hosted by me, eff-fume, Twitter handle FumingF, and my co-host, CritiCold, Twitter handle ColdCriti. If you have found this podcast for some mysterious reason without knowing us vaguely already, then famously known on any Twitter as the IL, Kari, and Miyuki, and are very good friends. This podcasting series will be us two casually talking about whatever topics you want to talk about, ranging from anime to non-anime. We will not always host guests, but plan for some in the future. Today's topics will be about the Higurashi Remake and our verdict roundup on the summer 2020 anime season, of which we watched all anime that we completed together. Enjoy. We will start with Higurashi, the remake. Which we just watched. And also we watched the first episode of the original, which came out in 2006. But we'll start with the new one. So what are your impressions of the new one?
Bad. I did not like it at all. For one, the dialogue was extremely odd. There was like awkward pauses between each line that you could tell like was a remnant of the VN format. And a lot of the banter was kind of nonsensical.
Yep. Especially in this new one, is that the more blobs, expressions, sound effects, comedy in general is just so outdated and just makes me feel old.
It just feels so weird seeing this kind of humor in like a 2020 anime.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like I'm watching a 2006 anime, exactly, or early 2000 anime, which I also felt with JJK, but we'll get to that later. The colors are completely hideous. The backgrounds are average at best. Some people seem to praise it on Twitter. I don't know where the praise comes from. Especially since the character art. The character is hideous, well, even though it's Watanabe designs.
You gotta find something to praise to explain this series' withstanding popularity.
Something. I don't know. Why is it?
Well,
because it's so weird.
Having watched the original first episode as well, though I would say the original first episode was better all around. The new one definitely like is visually better on just like a objective art standpoint.
I don't know. I disagree.
The old one looks bad.
I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it looks bad at all.
I mean, the directing
I don't think it
is
looks
better.
good.
It's got better
the directing
tone.
Is better.
Yeah.
Better tone, better editing.
But the artwork itself is not good.
Yeah, but I also think the character designs of the new one are not better at all. They are even worse, especially with the color design.
Yeah, they're like very saturated, very plasticky.
Especially in plastic is exactly the word someone used on Twitter too.
Ed.
Jay? Was it Jay? Was it you? Was it Ed? I don't know. Everyone is
Ed.
the same. Ed? Ed saw it already? Okay. Yeah, but like Mion's hair color is like really bright green, and it also has like dark greenish ends, and it just is a slap to my face. Like it really hurts me. Who else had weird colors? Rena's orange is really bright, but I think it's bearable. Yeah, then we have Rika's bangs, which just make me angry to look at. Because Rika's bangs are kind of iconic, and now they're just four flats, I don't know what to call it, bundles of hair in front of your face. I mean, that's generally what bangs are, but if you just look at the old design and the new one, you kind of would get what I'm talking about. Like, the old one looks spaghetti. The new one is, I don't know what's going on.
Just
like,
bangs.
Nadeko has like spaghetti hair, that kind of hair, and this one is not close.
I'll just interject and give a quick correction. It was actually Bean who said they looked. Makes sense because of course Bean would be the one to talk shit about a Ryukishiyo 7 adaptation.
That will get us back, and Ed will say he's just like Bean again because we confused him with Bean. He will get us back with that one. But yeah, I think the color design of the new one is a punch in my face, especially in contrast to the backgrounds, were like realistically looking.
A lot more detailed, at least.
Yeah. They're detailed, and then you have this really simplistic, plasticky, oversaturated character art that jumps out of the frame, and it didn't. What did I say? Shit, I did say in the episode. It doesn't blend in with the backgrounds, which is not true with the old one. With the old one, it blends in exactly the same because it has the same art style and the same color saturation.
Yeah, it's a matter of color grading for sure.
Yeah, like the new one had like color palette.
Half the episode set in like this terrifyingly orange place, and just all orange. The characters are like lit up in this red color. Light. Stop making everything look orange in your anime.
That orange was so ugly.
But not as ugly as the original visual novel.
Which looks awful.
Yes. So in that sense, any adaptation will really be an improvement visually.
Yeah. And the editing was super odd in the new one. Like in general, how everyone talked to each other and how they paced their sentences was just not.
Yeah, it was also less cartoony with the comedy. Like when the characters would like poke another in the face or hit them over the head or like some kind of stupid slapstick, it would not really follow through on it in the same way the original anime did.
Yeah, the original just flows better in itself, while the new one is just kind of. I guess we are doing this because it was like that, I guess. We have to do weird character shenanigans that endear you to the characters, even though they're just nonsensical and waste your time.
Yeah, like in the original, they play this card game, which is, something that you might realistically do if you're a group of people in a rural town and you don't have internet or anything actually cool.
Also because the new one is also set in the same time, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which they constantly remind you with calendar shots, which the original is a little bit more subtle. Like in this,
they just tell you up
the calendar like 4 times.
Yeah.
And in the old one, it showed like once at the start.
In the original, it's just like this text card at the beginning. It's like, this is set in the 80s. It's like, oh, thank you. Very helpful.
In the new one, it feels really forced. Just everything feels forced. When a character doesn't kind of edgy moment / face, it looks just off and out of place.
Like this is when I get curious about like
at least a little bit.
what Ryukishi's writing in the visual novel is like too, because in the original anime they play cards, but then after like there's this punishment game where they have to find a marker, and in the original they just skipped entirely past that. But in the new one they skipped the card game and only have the part where they all go searching for a marker that was hidden in the school, which is really stupid and really bad.
I assume the original VN has like 15 shenanigans instead of 2.
Oh, the visual novel probably has like 100 random fucking things that the characters come up with. That just makes no sense. Like the little blonde lolly who is terrible. Just like
super
places
annoying.
These traps around the school, so when they go searching for their markers, she drops like a bunch of pans on her friend, which is, rather dangerous. And then her friend in return, Rika, like has the box with the boxing glove spring pop out, and then it pastes, I guess with marker, with just like ink, the words KO on her face, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, the episode felt super long. Like I checked the time 4 times. I was like, is it over yet? 4 times at the least.
As I said, in the original, like they skipped entirely past that marker thing with good reason, I'd say, because it's not very necessary at all and doesn't endear you to the characters. But also, like, the new one opens with the scene of the main character eating breakfast, and then in the original it's literally like 5 seconds of just like him having breakfast, then cut to the plate empty, and then he walks out the room.
Yeah, and the transition to the empty plate is like decent. It's a decent editing job.
It's actually doing something, you know?
The older one felt faster paced, and even though the shenanigan was like, I don't care about this, it didn't feel like it was punishing me for watching
even though they end at like exactly the same point in the story.
Yeah, also the old one didn't have the post-credit Rika frame, which was just fucking weird and hideous looking in the new one.
Yeah, it seems a little not very useful to just have a 10-second post-credit scene that just shows another random character looking menacing right after the episode ended with the other character standing there looking menacing.
Yeah, even though both episodes start out with the main character beating up a bunch of corpses, the old one, first of all, did the eerie atmosphere way better and had way better directional framing, better shot composition, better darkness in the colors. And the new one was just, oh, here's murder, and then it just kind of is upfront with every character acting kind of weird when murder is mentioned. Like, the old one is also rather upfront, but it's not so obvious. Exactly the same thing
like
with the calendars. Like, everything is so obvious.
Like, there are those 2 lines with the characters where they, like, break their cute personas and, like, say something in, like, a very serious tone. And, like, in the original, there's, like, a slight pause, and then, you know, like, you hear it in the delivery. But in the new one, they even changed, like, the way the audio was compressed. So, like, when they give the, ooh, spooky line, it's, like, super loud in your ear, and the camera's, like, up in their mouth.
Yeah, even though it's all the same Seiyu cast, too.
Yeah.
Exact same.
I can't tell which is better, really. Probably the original, but, like, they still sound like amateurs for the most part.
Yeah, the original is simply better because the audio isn't compressed a certain way.
It's rarely ever a good idea to have, like, a character, an actor, like, reprise the same scenes. Like, the same with the rebuilds of Evangelion. Or just, like, even if you have all the same actors and, like, over time they theoretically are supposed to improve, you know, because they work more and hone their skills, but, like, you just can't, like, capture the same feel, the same, like, purity that, like, an original delivery has. Just like, oh, I guess I'll do it again. And this would be their 3rd time, at least. Or maybe 4th time. I don't know if the remake of the visual novel had re-recorded dialogue.
I always forget visual novel has recorded dialogue. Voice acting. Both episodes at the very end have, like, Rena and the main character at the... What is it called again? All the trash shit.
Garbage dump?
Garbage dump. And in the old one, he just kind of walks up to her and she's just like, oh, what are you doing here? In this kind of airheady way. But in the new one, he's like up all the way the fucking hill, and then she reacts like she was just caught killing someone. So that scene was kind of framed completely differently from each other without any reason, because she wasn't doing anything bad in that scene. And then later we have that shot with Rena, like, looking very tired in the new one. In the old one, she's just kind of smiled.
Yeah.
That was completely different too.
Yeah.
These are like 2 completely different intentions in framing.
And that's another thing where it's like how much of it is like ambiguous in the source material, because like the source material doesn't have the same amount of visuals to like communicate tone and scene and everything. So it might just be that like they're going off some vague narration and then like just filling in the blanks, and that's why they end up with very different results.
Makes you wonder what Yukishi wrote in that shit.
What did he do?
Like, did he write, did Rena smile? Did she look tired? Did she look nothing? Was there just a visual where her face was like omitted?
Or were they just not able to tell what her expression was because the art is so bad?
Maybe that too. But yeah, I think that's everything about Higurashi so far. Oh yeah, wait, the opening. They played the opening song at the end, which kind of pissed me off.
Everything pisses you off.
Well, it pissed me off because it's like a song that I have nostalgia for, and it's a great opening. And the first episode of the original, they just have the opening scene with the murder, and then they have the opening with the visuals and the song. It's like, oh, this looks really interesting and cool and pretty, even though it looks kind of scary and horrifying. And no one, it's just him at the garbage dump, and it just starts playing.
Yeah.
Which is just jarring. Like, oh, it looks, I mean, it sounds good, but I don't know what I'm supposed to feel when that plays, when he's just looking at garbage.
It's the thing you know.
Hey, remember this? If they actually uses the opening with new visuals and it looks exactly the same, but just in the style, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna be like, oh no.
It seems like they're going very close to they might like try to pace it exactly the same as like the original one was, because like this both started and ended the same way as the original show, with only like minor differences like the ones I noted.
Yeah, with scenes being unnecessarily longer and having shittier editing all around.
Yeah. So
basically an inferior product which you would expect from Studio Passion. Have they ever done anything good? No.
I don't even know what they've done.
I don't actually care what they've done. Okay, that's enough about Higurashi. Now let's round up the last season, which made me lose hope in anime forever.
It was the worst season I've ever experienced as a currently seasonal watcher.
I have not made my spreadsheet yet. I make like spreadsheets of every year. Like seasonal anime I've watched, and I have like an average score, and I haven't input anything in. But I assumed it's negative score. Usually I get around like a 5, 6.
Yeah.
If it's scored above a 6, usually not.
Yeah.
This one is so bad. I don't think I've enjoyed 2 anime. One of them was a sequel of an anime I already loved, and the other one is a generic looking ass Silverling show that I had like zero expectations for until I actually watched it and then completed it, and it actually committed to its own premise.
What does it say about summer 2020 anime season when the best original or new franchise series is like the most generic looking light novel Demon Academy anime?
Yeah, even when I was in the Air Anime podcast about this season, everyone was kind of agreeing that show was like one of the better of this season.
Which should not be the case.
Yeah, if that is like your top 4 shows of the season, or even top 3, if it was a good season, it wouldn't even be in the top 15. That's maybe in the top 15, but not at least from the first few episode impressions. But in the overall end conclusion,
I mean, the best show apart from ReZero was a 7, and then apart from that, there was God of High School, which was a flat 0.1.
Which I would give a 0 if I could.
It's probably the second worst anime I've ever completed. Or at all watched, actually.
Yeah.
Oregairu, which even the fans weren't that big a fan of this time around, and a lot of people were like beginning to realize its flaws. Which we gave a 3. Rent a Girlfriend, which is a 2. SEO, which we didn't watch, but we gave the previous season also a 2. Fire Force.
No. I gave Alicization. The first, I always call it just Ally because I don't remember the full name. The first Ally season, I only watched like 6 maybe episodes. I don't remember, but from just episode 1, I was like, whoa, this is a 1 out of 10. Holy shit. The first episode alone was so bad and it looked so ugly. They were like in a crystal cave and I lost my fucking mind because I looked at the crystals and I was like, yo, this is just a PNG, and it just mirrored it a few times and then changed the sizes and put it on the screen 5 times.
No, it's ufotable quality animation.
But hey, there's flashy Sakuga, which looks like shit because of the color gradient on the outlines.
Yeah, I don't know what that compositing director was doing, but people seem to think it looks like cinematic or good.
Hell, even the poster of this season is just flashy colors. I can't even make up half of the characters on it. I can just kind of tell apart Kirito because he's all black in the middle in a poster that's recognizable.
Oh yeah, it's just a fucking splash of
I don't know what
lights
the
and
bottom's
colors.
supposed to be. I don't know what this yellow shit at the bottom is.
Every time I look at it, I just see the blonde guy in the upper left corner. I'm like, is
With
that
the edgy
Scott F.
face. That's the first
Fitzgerald
thing you
from
see.
Bungo Stray Dogs?
I can't kind of tell Asuna, but she's like behind these purple star things that.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's Asuna, I think.
I can't see shit.
And in the bottom right is Shino, and the top right is his cousin, and then there's someone in the background.
His cousin, nice.
Leafa. Yeah, I can open it, then I see it a little better. Oh, the bottom one is fucking Alice. She's like horizontal.
So, in conclusion, the SAO poster is bad.
It's bad. It's so bad.
And then there was Deca Dence, which we excruciatingly watched to the end after it was already completed.
That was such a disappointment. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the shows, that's probably the one we're like most educated to talk about because we actually completed it.
Yeah.
I mean, we completed some of the other ones
Deca
too.
Dence kind of shot itself in the foot when it revealed the big twist in episode 2, and then it just kind of had nothing going for it after that. It just kind of had the whole, what was it, entertainment industry bad because it harms people. And then there was some weird drama where like the friend of the main character girl was like, oh, what did she say? She said something so generic that I just completely forgot about it already. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
But she was like, oh, I can't believe you've done this. Simply. Like she was like, oh yeah, it was the,
it like
I
has
remember,
this
I remember.
world.
I remember she said like, oh, all I wanted to do was to like eat with you daily and have like a calm life, like all that shit that a war-haunted person that is caught in war and can't have any peace of mind would say. But it says this random ass character because the main girl wants to fight in a military somewhat kind of soldier thing.
Anyway, it has like this world-altering twist in episode 2 before it like even really gets to establish what the world is like, which, you know, seems rather bad, but it's also like the only really interesting part of the show. But it didn't have to be.
Yeah.
Because if they just like saved that and had them like actually play the premise straight for a while, then you could have like the main two characters have like these contrasting motivations and like kind of work against each other behind the scenes, and you could learn more about the world and like get more foreshadowing for the twist instead of them just like dropping it like an advertisement at the beginning of the episode. But then, you know, it might not also have worked if they put it that much later, because the game world, the virtual world that the show is actually set in, is like really silly looking, very like chibi avatar, cute, silly looking characters. So, you know, it's not very easy to take seriously when it tries to be very dramatic.
Yeah, and you pointed out that the character designs of these avatars didn't even make much sense, because are they randomized? Are they generated? Is there a reason certain characters have certain abilities? Can you upgrade?
Like the virtual programs, like the avatars, they have like these unique physical characteristics that allow them to like do different things to the system. Like this one avatar just has like wires in her fingers that allows her to hack the system, and it's like, how does this work? How does the system allow this to happen, and how do you like customize your character to be like this?
Yeah, like they had like a ranking introduced, but I don't think they ever committed to it.
No,
there was like
really.
No actual
it was
reward.
Kind of
like what? I think Summer Wars had this kind of. It has been a while since I've seen that movie, but like they have like a ranking system that was kind of important in the first few episodes, but it was just completely dropped for the bug subplot, which we'll get to in a minute. But like, imagine if there had been an actual ranking, and then you could have upgraded your characters and stuff. And the male MC, I would call him, was a pretty good player. So if there was a ranking point system, he got points to upgrade his avatar and would have gotten like special abilities like hacking and shit. That could have been something, but I don't think if they ever committed to something like that. I don't think they did.
Yeah, it was just very loose and like throwing its cock around with the rules of the fucking program Virtual World. Because by the end of the show, the like virtual avatars and like real physical human beings are like existing in the same space and like interacting physically.
Yeah, the show.
And they just look completely different, like
The
different
show
dimensions.
also tried to push kind of the emotional angle with the humans are like actually dying and all these avatars are actually not dying because they're just avatars and can be replaced. But it kind of just didn't work at all. Because at that point, there was like no stake left. There was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, in episode 2 when they introduced the whole Deca Dence is actually a video game platform. There was like the shot of the entire planet, and there was like a spaceship in the world. And there was just giant globe of the globe. What am I talking? The globe above the Deca Dence, which was a huge area. And outside was basically the entire planet was dead. It was orange and it was like poisonous gas or whatever. And they never world built that beyond it. And that's what gets me.
We learned so little about the world apart from just like seeing it in the beginning of episode 2.
I was waiting for them to actually have like a compelling background story on how the planet died. They just didn't. Eventually they just kind of made the globe bigger.
It was just
and had more area, and that was kind of it. And then the show ended, and the humans were just free and were farming and shit. And then the show was just over. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and they changed the killing monsters entertainment game into like a farming game.
And just every plot thread was not every plot thread was predictable or was like reminiscing of other things I've watched in my 10 plus years of watching anime. Every single line of dialogue was predictable or generic. Male MC and female MC have a falling out because he turns out to not be human and disappeared for a while. He comes back with his avatar, gets stabbed by the villain as they are about to make up, and it is like the most predictable thing you can have in these kind of things. When there's a falling out between two characters and one comes back to apologize, there's always some dude stabbing them. That happens so often. I've seen it a billion times, and it's just in this kind of... I've seen this before. Scenario happened a billion times. And then all this video game shenanigan language that I didn't understand kept happening episode, and it just was consistently disengaged because the soundtrack was super fucking lame and kind of distracting too. So I'm glad I zoned out at points because I would have just been more confused over time. And then
yeah, I had to sit through it because I only had my one screen, so I had to
had
focus
to
on that
the
alone.
thing.
Yeah, I was losing my mind.
After the climax, where they fight the big bad villain, and they have the farming shit, and oh look, everyone's happy now. And then the final scene where like the MC girl, who is by the way called Natsume, has like a touring with a child, and then some ominous old man comes towards her direction, which is obviously the guy, and they just cut away before we see his face and the show ends. I was so mad at that I slapped my keyboard. That was so predictable because I knew when I saw that frame.
Wow, how ambiguous.
I was when I saw that frame, I was like, oh, they're gonna cut away before they show his face, and she's gonna like start crying, and she did, and then the cutaway was too black, and I slapped my keyboard so hard.
Who was the man? It's open to interpretation.
What else did they have? Fuck.
What I said when we watched it was that it's basically like the template for anime. Like if we use Evangelion as a basing point, then like just take angels, change the name to Gadol, take the mechs, change them to these flying hover packs and spears, and it's just everything you already know but like reskinned and renamed.
Now I remember. The Deca Dence is called the fucking machinery ship, blah blah. It has like a giant hammer thing installed, and occasionally we cut back to the operator room where like a guy is there that looks like he's straight out from Gurren Lagann from character design. and they just randomly operate this giant hammer that slap or fist. It was a fist, right? And it just punches these really big ones. And it happens like 3 times, but I've never really understood the point of it.
Doesn't it only happen in the first and last
No, it
episode?
happens not in the first one.
Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah, but it happened at least 3 times. At the start, in the middle, and the end. And it was always kind of like a build-up, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like episode 6 of Era with the sniper. It wasn't like that kind of emotionally compelling kind of thing. It was just, oh, this is kind of cool. And let's not forget the ugly-ass CGI monsters, which looked like they came from 1996, or I don't know, when the Fate Stay Dean anime had the CG dragon. That kind of era. Remember the Fate Stay Dean dragon? That ugly, hideous thing?
The dragon, yeah. I do remember.
Yeah, that looked like that. And we had them so many times. In other words, the show's like pretty looking and well produced, but it has like weird lens flares that don't even have a lens flare. It's just a giant line on your screen that makes no sense. That happened a few times. And the Sakuga was kinda choppy sometimes. They had a lot of deep animation where I was like, oh, is this Yutaban or some shit? Or, Koa Yo Yoshinori, I always mistaken. Some Yoshinori kind of cut. The deeper animation, it was good. And we never actually checked who the scriptwriter was, so I'm gonna do that now.
I mean, it's just the state of, original anime now. Original anime, like, listeners before it, are just these really specific and niche takes on like established genres now, and they just like all kind of have like one point of aesthetic, but they don't really seem to know like a story for themselves to tell. So that's very sad, along with the fact that 24, 25 episode anime are basically dead.
There's no scriptwriter listed on More. It's probably on N, but I'm too lazy now. But since I look at the chart, remember the purple-haired girl with the cool bangs that we thought was hot, and she like never mattered?
She never even like appeared. She was in like 4 shots in the whole anime.
At the end, she was there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When they were all happily ever after.
Deca Dence is like the definition of how to make an average anime. Way too ambiguous for its own good. Doesn't really actually have a script that goes anywhere, but has like a decent production, but also has issues with the production, as it ate the fucking CGI. Like, it had a few cool ideas, like the whole world, basically. Even the video game stuff, but like, it just didn't commit to any aspect of angle it could have gone, like I said, with the ranking system or the world building. How did the planet die? Maybe we were just asleep when it was explained. Doesn't matter. Oh god, I forgot something to mention. In the new Higurashi anime, they didn't actually explain why everyone is in the same school. Because they're all different ages.
Which the original
says in the through passing line they have like one teacher who has to teach every single one in the class, even though they're different grades. And a new one that just appear in class and they don't even have class, it's just kind of over. But it's not really explained why everyone is in the same school, or why they're all different ages and stuff.
Yeah, I had to ask because we watched the new one first.
And I surprisingly remember most things about the original, even though it has been 12 or 13 years. And I was very confused by the show originally. So yeah, that was Deca Dence. Oh yeah, Fugokeiji, you start.
Oh god. It was very dumb. It had a lot of dumb writing. Particularly near the end. And the fact that there is no actual mystery in the thing. Because the main mystery... I guess it's fine to spoil. Spoilers if you haven't seen Fugokeiji, but you shouldn't because it's bad. The killer of Daisuke's mother is like his father, and like halfway through the show in like episode 6 they find out that like there's material evidence to imply that like the father was the culprit, and at first that seems like a red herring because it's like, oh, there's no way it could be that obvious and stuff, and then the show just continues, and it's just true, all the way until like the very end, where it like throws this very out of nowhere twist that it was actually the grandmother, and that she just had an identical clone of her son who was like pretending to be the father, and the actual father is like in a comatose state, almost pseudo comatose state, and that's how it is.
No. It was that the mother got stabbed, the father got home and he took up the knife that was bloody, and then the second he did that, his son came in and saw it. And then it just took the father and put him away somewhere and acted like it was him the whole time. And there was this old man that just put into a mask that made him look exactly like the dad. So yeah, they kind of like introduce this revenge plot in episode 6 and then kind of commit to it, and they don't even investigate or suspect anyone else being a culprit. It's just this one guy, obviously it's the father, and they constantly tease the dad with like shots, but they never show his face, and then they actually show his face and it's actually not even him, but a guy in a mask. And then it's actually the grandma, who the moment she's revealed gets red eyes, because this is the Erased director apparently, and I didn't know until that happened, and it all made sense to me.
Is it actually?
I think. I mean, I just said that, but I think it's true.
I mean, I just made the comparison when we watched it, and you just said that like it's fact.
I'm gonna check real quick, okay, before I say bullshit.
Yeah,
it's not. No, it is.
Fake
it's the
news.
SEO director. Hold on.
Oh my god.
It is. It is him. Of course it's him. Yeah, it's him. Of course he would do that.
Yeah.
It's the only one in the industry who would do that.
So if you've seen Erased and you know what the ending of that was like, you can kind of get a gauge for how a Fugokeji's ending was like.
I can't actually believe I sat through something and it was just erased again, and I was like, this has to be a joke.
Erased has been your enemy for all these years.
Erased literally ruined my life forever. I can't believe it. It's so, and like the show could have been good if it had like episodes like episode 4 where they just hang out and it's this spoiled bratish dude with a lot of money having to do normal things, but they had it for like one episode and they never committed to it. And the whole balance unlimited shit is just a gimmick, and it's not really a theme of anything. Like, it's not like he buys literally everything he sees. Because I thought that would be it.
He's just James Bond, Tony Stark. Like, he just runs around, and then he's got his own like little Jarvis AI. Just like, hey, pay for this, do that, and then it just does it.
And I thought it would be like in episode 1, they kind of tried to make the case where he like just makes a dude leave his car and gives him all the money for the car or something. And I thought that would be it. The whole thing, he just gives random people money to get his shit done. But then most cases were just inconsequential garbage. Like episode 3 was on a train. It was really shitty with dialogue, and I just already suppressed it because it was so bad. Yeah, and episode 1 ends like with the actual main character, not Daisuke, falling down the bridge because Daisuke doesn't want to give him his hand and just smirks at him, and the show ends exactly the same. So it's like, it's just like the start of the movie. But like he was supposed, like, he reaches out his hand and he just like takes it back and smirks at him, and he falls down again. Also, this bridge was super high, so he could have actually died from that, first of all.
Yeah, you would die from falling from that height into water.
Into water, which is like concrete at a certain height and speed when you fall.
Yeah.
So it's like, he didn't even develop as a character because he just smirked at him again and let him fall. And like, episode 1, I was at the main character be like, I will show you that you can't buy everything with money, and that never mattered. They didn't commit to their own gimmick at all. They just made up some bullshit.
Because he did. He did buy everything with money.
And they also have like this one Fugokeiji track that just keeps playing every time he appears and is cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a very much a one-trick pony.
the only investment I had over time was this one guy with kind of purple hair and nice bangs that I'm in love with.
Just a pretty lad.
Just a pretty lad. I can't help it. Utter disappointed. I can't believe I was tricked so hard into watching Erased again.
We should have checked the director. How did we not know it was Tomohiko Ito?
I don't know. I just remember people said the author of the original novel was a piece of shit.
Well, how could we have expected that it would be the SAO director when SAO aired the same season?
Is he on the new SAO?
Good question.
No, that's a new director. No, it's a new director. The last thing he did was Ordinal Scale. Maybe that's why the new one is so fucking awful.
Is Tomohiko Ito actually a better director than the guy who's directing now?
Well, I don't think he's bad visually, just everything he's on has shitty scripts. And his action is bad. I mean, this show didn't have bad action and animation, it was okay. The art style was a little middling, I thought. The outlines were very thin.
It's like an anime that stands out from the mix, but that also like
disappoints.
You can tell is a little lacking in the creative department still.
Yeah.
Like Great Pretender has a little more going for it, but it's on a similar wavelength.
Which we still haven't finished and watched 6 episodes.
No, we watched more than 6 episodes, didn't we?
Did we? I would check right now. No, we only watched 6 episodes.
You're probably right. You always got the episode counts.
I got every score.
I'm just
every
zoning out and drooling when we watch anime.
Who doesn't? Next thing that was garbage. Rent a Girlfriend, which will be the end of my existence. Just like Usaki-chan.
It's gonna keep airing for the rest of this decade.
The rest of my life. Just like SAO, because SAO will literally air as long until I'm into my grave. Into Earth. Until Earth embraces me with its cold hug. Then SAO will be over. When I'm fucking 1,000 years old.
I mean, this season claimed to be the end of the story, and yet there is another anime coming, and the light novels are still going.
And the progressive is getting in fucking anime.
That's what I meant.
Oh, I'm sorry. But Rent a Girlfriend is the incel anime. That's all you need to know. And
also, the backgrounds are bad. And the soundtrack is bad. And all the characters are absurdly stupid.
I still didn't get to write my Rent a Girlfriend review because nobody was fucking talking about the music or the backgrounds, and I can't have that. I need to talk about the backgrounds. The backgrounds are drawn like by someone who has a very shaky hand and decided this guy needs to draw every outline, while the background have outwash colors, white corners,
no straight lines,
and it's just hideous. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's disgusting.
And the soundtrack
but not as disgusting as the main character.
Yeah, and the soundtrack is like video gamey and doesn't fit at all and made me laugh several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main character, you talk about him?
Well, he has no redeeming qualities, so the show has to try to suggest that there is something good about him by having his friend talk and basically guilt trip the main heroine of the show into giving him another chance because deep down he's a good guy, and also by contriving a situation in which he has to save her life because, you know, when it comes down to it, he's a hero who will dive into the ocean to save you. But otherwise, he's a fucking creepy incel who will just try to stare up your skirt and fucking get a nosebleed and get a hard-on and come in his pants.
Oh, I completely forgot. That happened. She had like a fever and fell down a fucking ship and he dived in there and I was like, has to be a joke. This has to be a joke.
That's how this show thinks.
And the show
how
is
this manga thinks.
so focused on the shot and the framing is so bad. Like, it's constantly on legs or breasts and used cum tissues, which makes me feel really gross. And I've never felt like that with a show before. And this is like not an ecchi show. It's not fan servicey per se. I mean, it kind of is because all the girls are super pretty and shiny. Apparently, that makes you hard. Not me though. So they have
and the sequences inside Kazuya's mind where he imagines his ex-girlfriend having sex.
Where he imagines his ex-girlfriend having sex, NTR by the way, and then comes to it. And I have to watch it happening.
There was like 4 scenes of him jacking off for no clear reason.
The show actively forces you to watch these scenes where he jacks off. And I've never felt so uncomfortable in a show before. There was never a point in my life I watched an anime where I wanted to stand up and leave my own house. But this one made me do that. I did actually want to leave my own house. Yeah, Kazuya is a piece of shit. And his voice actor sounds like Kazuma. Makes me mad. Kinda. It's not, thankfully it's not Joe Fukushima, who I very terribly miss now that I've heard someone very inferior to him. Fucking hell.
I don't know who it is though. Since it's not Jun Fukushima, I don't know who created this monstrosity.
He's just some rando. He hasn't done much.
Shun Horia, he voiced Asta in the OVA before the anime came out.
But otherwise, he's just a rando who was in Zero Cyrus. He was like this annoying kid in Sarah Sunmai. The Enter Boy, yeah. The Enter Boy.
And he was the MC in Death March.
As you can see, great track record. They also cast...
Great.
Their voice cast otherwise is like really solid. Like Chizuru with Amamiya Sora is like perfect. Because you think she's kind of like Aqua, with just talking shit about the MC, but they dropped that gimmick like after episode 2, and then she's just kind of gullible and dumb.
Irrationally nice to him, even though he stalks her, creeps on her, and is just a general inconvenience and burden on her job and life.
And then, yeah, an entire episode is just him literally stalking her while she's out on a quotation date, quotation end, with someone who turns out to be just a working colleague because she actually wants to become an actress. And she's also like consistently roped into this whole affair because their grandparents met in a hospital and now they have to fake dates so they don't pass out from...
His grandmother is in love with her.
And of course his grandmother is in love with her. And somehow the entire family just believes everything he says. Like, Ruka is later introduced, who's a minor, by the way. Everyone else is now 19 plus. Kazuya is 21. So that's problematic. That a 15-year-old goes out and does this business is already shady, but I guess it's normal in Japan, if we're being honest. Normal. I don't want to accuse...
Yeah, but the show doesn't really try to say anything about those things.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gimmick.
It's just kind of there. And then like Ruka's like... so first of all, she has like this heart condition where her heart doesn't beat as fast or something like other people. It doesn't really react to things. And so she fucking Kazuya runs into her and sees her panties, and apparently that riles her up, and then she assumes she's in love with him now because her heart rate went up to 90 or something, and then they had like this backstory in the ending, and I got offended because as a somewhat emotional, stilted person, this is kind of offensive to me. Oh, I don't feel human because I don't react... My heart rate doesn't go up like other people at certain scenarios. I don't feel like a human. But then it does, and it's this piece of garbage. So she just decides to throw herself at him.
Her heart rate probably went up because she was scared he was gonna fucking molest her.
No, that didn't cross her mind for a millisecond. But this show is toxic and has like no views that are reasonable or healthy.
Yeah.
So like she throws herself at him, and it's if we ignore the age gap, he should be happy a girl with so pretty with big tits throws herself at him. But he just doesn't care because now he's decided that he's in love with Chizuru and he only wants her. Which is super annoying. And then he even gaslights her by telling his family that she's a compulsive liar, and she says she is, why do we call her he for some reason? She is his girlfriend, and the family just believes it. They just, he would never go 2 girls because he's shitty. He would never get 2 girls, right? What the fuck?
Our son is a piece of shit.
Like, the family is so bad. So many bad things.
In conclusion, everything is bad.
So yeah, the show looks
except
ugly.
For Chizuru being a little hot.
Chizuru is like the best character, but she also is like victim of the narrative and the writer because she's getting more stupid over time of the show for the sake of Kazuya getting pussy or not pussy, really.
She's being manipulated into being a stupid bad character for the sake of the story when she's actually a good character trapped in the story.
And Mami is the femcel who's actually like the only good thing at this point. But I don't know. Yeah. She doesn't have enough screen time to warrant any praise, really. But she's Yuki Aoi, and I like Yuki Aoi as a smug girl, so Yuki Aoi can insult me all she wants, because that sounds good to me.
Very nice.
But yeah, show is complete garbage. Everyone who likes this trash has my condolences. I hope you recover from your injuries really quick. There's nothing good about it. It looks ugly. It's more polished than production. It's like... first episode looked like eye-candy, but then it just stopped. Like, they can't manage to draw the characters' hates correctly. The portions are off, especially in backgrounds. And of course, the backgrounds look like shit. The only time it's like good when it's close-ups. The last episode was pretty fine, but it has like the most close-ups in the entire show, I felt. The soundtrack is garbage. The characters are garbage. The fashion design is pretty good. Like, Chizuru was wearing outfits, I was like, I would like them. So that's cool. Do you have anything left to say?
I have no thoughts.
But yeah. I started the show with the impression I would definitely give it a 4, but not lower. I don't know why I thought that. I think I was a little too nice, but now I know better. I will never be nice again. So yeah, I'm not going to watch the sequel, hopefully.
We shall not. Again. We shall not watch it.
We shall try not to, but I will probably will because Twitter won't shut up about it.
I hope they do.
I'm sad that so much animation talent is wasted on something like that.
Everything that season, basically.
Everything
so much talent wasted on so much garbage.
Next garbage, when we are already talking about garbage. God of High School.
Oh god.
Made 0 sense.
That shit made no sense.
Literally skipped 130 chapters at one point.
Yeah.
The main character's design is absolute dog shit. I hate the stars in the eyes. The voice acting is amateur. The chibi comedy is out of place, outdated, annoying, makes me wanna hate myself. The animation and direction is not good.
It's
they have some
a corny, cliche-ridden shonen fucking I don't want to say imposter that like only has action going for it because this director is like famously, action heavy with the Sakuga, but yet the action is so bad and makes no goddamn sense. Each fight, the characters just like pull out this random ability, and these are never explained, and that just ends the fight. Sometimes they'll like get to the finals of the tournament, and the fight will be ended in like 30 seconds because it's not a distinctive character with a unique design. And other times it'll take a whole episode, but none of the characters will like actually hit each other. Like hit half a meter away, or like they'll just stop before actually making contact.
Literary definition of punching air.
Yeah, exactly.
All the characters are fucking garbage. Every time a character is introduced, they have like some weird, convoluted, rushed, emotional, in quotes, backstory, and that is handled in the same episode and then they're forgotten or like get back a few episodes later in some kind of weird here they are moment and then it's over. They never explain any of the power systems, the world, the god shit is just shafted in. Just massive waste of your fucking time.
Yeah. That about covers it.
There's literally just one track kind of liked, but I already forgot what it sounded like because I hate everything about this show. The one other male character that is like on the left side of the poster had a friend with cancer, and the friend with cancer died, and then he went on the rampage and bet up the female character in the ring almost to death, and then he fought the main character, and that was kind of the conclusion to his arc, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, the writing is bad, the action choreography is bad, the characters are bad, the music is bad, the opening is very bad. It is the most bad anime I've completed.
It's a 0 if I could give one, but I can't, so I give it a 0.1 on Analyst. Which is 1 point worse than Tower of God, which only got that score because the last episode wasn't complete dog shit.
Yeah, because Rachel Goat.
Rachel pushed off the fucking MC, and that's my goat. Yeah, God of High School sucks, and I hope every webtoon sucks now.
That's why I'm very much looking forward to Noblesse.
Then I can say I've done it.
Yeah. Every webtoon adaptation by Crunchyroll is going to be a 1 out of 10, and I'm going to love it.
The Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat everything about God of High School, just read our tweets.
Yeah.
Like, they put an end of Evangelion, and the guy became a cat boy, and the main character changed eye color to blue and had like an awakening to his ancestor who looks literally just like him. Yeah, you've seen that kind of shit before somewhere, and it was always bad. It will never be good. I also just forgot there was also fucking Japan Sings, which you binged in one day.
That was last season?
Yeah, it is listed as last season, but it's in ONA, so it just appeared in July.
Yeah. Feels like ages
Fugo
ago.
Keiji we talked about, and this aired technically in April. it feels... Because it's 2 months.
But it resumed this summer.
But yeah, I don't know. Japan Stings, it was not good.
Masaki Yuasa has forgotten how to make anime.
It looked ugly. The characters were kind of what the fuck am I talking about? Thin-skinned? No. The character writing was... I have no clue what I'm gonna say. It's just not good. It's just not good.
The story was stupid.
Also, apparently the YouTuber male star character, which was the only really cool character because he did so much cool shit, was apparently trans, and that was only noticeable because in a flashback he had a skirt on or something. Nobody knows that. I just read it on Twitter on one day. I was like, oh, cool.
Very interesting. And by the end, it all came together in a beautiful fashion with a theme about how the internet allows us to upload our memories to the cloud.
To the cloud, and you can download it and look at it. It's so much stupid shit. Characters just did stupid stuff, and then they died from it. Like, the dad died. Spoilers, by the way. The dad died because they went on a minefield and they didn't see the fucking...
sign that said there
all
were
over
mines,
the place.
Right?
Yeah, they just went in, they saw there was a sign, and then the girl just cleans up the sign and sees it, and then he just hits a fucking mine, and his fucking body explodes, and his arm falls in front of his wife. It was pretty gruesome. And this other girl they meet is almost getting raped, and they beat up the guy, and then the next episode she runs into like at the top of a mountain, she runs into an area and just falls dead over, And then Mr. YouTuber comes in and is like, hey, this is actually poisonous gas there. That's why all the birds there are dead, and which he apparently didn't see. So like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Then we also have the grandpa who just kind of dies overseas and then gets eaten by a shark. Who appears out of nowhere. There's a lot of weird shit that makes no sense.
Yeah. Very, very
What
great
did we give it?
trip. We gave it like a 2 out of 10.
No, we gave it a 3. We were about to give it a 2, but then we gave it a 3 because the last 3 episodes were an actual dog shit.
Well, that's what kept us from giving it a 1, wasn't it?
No, it was kept.
Oh yeah, we did give it a 3.
You're
right.
Well, it was kind of entertaining, so especially when they had this cult arc, where
it was very funny.
Where the autistic boy started speaking, that was hit by a rock and died. Or the 360 grandpa sniper shot.
Yeah.
This was directed by one of the most acclaimed directors, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know how that came to be.
Oh, well, it was actually this other guy, but it's like the first project where Yuasa is not the series director. He's just a side thing.
They're co-directors, but you can definitely see like Yuasa's fingerprints on it, especially from like his recent work, Devilman Crybaby and Blue Over the Wall and Ride Your Wave, that have just progressively lost its charm and surreal elements. And he took the rapping from Devilman Crybaby and tried to do a similar thing just to appeal to the kids. And
he
does not
used
work.
The fucking running thing.
Yeah, the track and field.
The track and field and everything, man.
Yes.
Just the Devilman is actually good. Okay, last bad show to talk about is Oregairu. I hate Oregairu, now read my review. Literally a massive waste of time. There's so many characters on this poster and none of them matter. 3 characters matter on this poster, nobody else does. Are you also gonna say something about Oregairu?
I am tired of talking about Oregairu.
Well, I think I said everything in my review. The lighting was hideous. The production was piss poor. The plot was paper thin. The pacing was torturous. The climax was unsatisfying. The dialogue was pretentious. It feels like the authors never talked to a real person, etc., etc. It's just ad nauseum at this point. Nobody enjoyed this. I mean, some people enjoyed it, of course. It has an 8.5. Still, somehow it shouldn't. I'm like surprised that Oregairu fell off so hard for me. Like I gave the first season when I watched it originally in 2015 or whatever, like an 8, and then the second season a 7 because I was confused by it. And now it's like a 5, a 4, and a 3, respectively.
I never liked Oregairu because I watched it when you lowered your opinion of it.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying when I was like, you're gonna like Oregairu because I liked it. And then you watched it, I was like, oh no, I don't like it anymore. Well, at least you both didn't like it. Imagine if I still liked it, that would have been awful.
At least we hated it together.
Yeah. We bond in our hatred. Last one, ReZero. Let's go.
ReZero was great. I loved it very much, despite not living up to the presentation quality of the first season, whether in the art, directing, which relates to production, in that they weren't able to do as much ambitious directorial work because of COVID and not being able to do proper checkups and corrections. But the material is very strong, and like apart from Arc 3, which is like most the second half of the first season, it's actually stronger than the first season in terms of story, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's a little sad it couldn't be a complete 10 out of 10 like it deserves to be. We can only hope for the second half, but it was by no means a disappointment.
Yeah, it was a very decent 9. Every week was like a joy to watch. Had a smile on my face, had tears in my eyes. I love ReZero.
I
I
love
like.
it too.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I understand a few things better now. I like how Nagatsuki, that's his name, right? Lays out the mystery as he does. The new type of storytelling that Isayama invented, where you put every tiny foreshadowing in the prologue, and then everything comes together in a way later arc. Which will throw most people off because they will just be confused and question everything and just won't be swayed, but just enjoying the ride like I do. Like I'm just like, I have no clue what's going on. Or not like literally, but like...
Yeah, I've been really impressed with how Nagatsuki has like taken Subaru's character and continued to explore it, because like the first season could have been like a complete arc in itself. Like his character could have ended there, and it would be satisfying and like profound, really. But it's just continued to go further and further beyond with it. And impressed with the plotting and the mystery and the character writing. And it's going to be a masterpiece by the end of it, for sure.
It's just nice to see like a fantasy story, especially an isekai one, be so close to Evangelion in spirit and theming. So that's cool. Also very interested in Satella and how this whole return by death, why it actually works the way it does, works in the long run. I have a few ideas, but I'm not going to say them.
There's a lot of theory crafting here, though there's also, content much further in the novels that might confirm or change those theories. But we are here for the anime.
I'm very anticipating Garfield more and Regulus too. Regulus was cool as fuck, even though Jay complained about the cut dialogue, but I already loved him from like the 3 sentences he spoke.
Well, I hear Regulus is not supposed to show up until the next arc.
Maybe I saw him. That was the white-haired one.
Yeah, I know. He won't be relevant until the next arc.
That will eventually happen too, so... If I ever...
Please continue making ReZero, White Fox.
If I ever finish reading the novels, because I hate reading novels so much. I started the second volume again, and I read 10 pages, and I realized there's still 250 more, until I kind of paused. I'm so bad at reading. But I will manage, I will do it somehow. But the next season, maybe I will have Arc 3 completed reading. Arc 2 and Arc 3. But yeah. ReZero is great, if you by this time still don't like it, you should change your opinion.
Rewatch anime.
Rewatch anime is the agenda. I forgot we have another good show left, which was the Mao show.
Well, we talked about it a little bit, but not in depth. I suppose we might as well do it just because Ed is confused at our opinion. Well, I was surprised at how genuinely cool the main character was, and not just a complete 12-year-old idea of cool. He actually does these kind of creative and raw displays of power. In the first episode where he snapped a guy and exploded him and then brought him back to life 20 times just to prove a point, or just to scare him, or pick up an entire castle with his hand just because, if I can't use magic, I'll just use brute strength. And that kind of stuff is fun when done right. We need more power fantasies that are actually competently made from a technical standpoint.
The Marshu was just aware of what it is and just fucked around with it. The main character had a smile on his face. He wasn't aloof and stone cold faced usually these kind of shows have, these MZs. Irregular as example, where he just looks like he doesn't want to be here. He had very interesting eye color. He had fuzzy MC cool hair, where it looks distinguished enough for him to look cool and not generic. I like the school uniforms. They weren't garbage. The backgrounds were mostly good. Sometimes they looked like shit. That was kind of a thing with the show. Sometimes the art was really good and sometimes it was really bad. the effects work was really interesting, really good. For the colors were good, with the purple especially.
The music is good.
The music was very good. The editing was really good. But it's kind of what you can expect from Silverlink, at least.
And the story, like, has enough continuity and, like, things that feel meaningful enough, and it leads to, like, a twist and a climax that is pretty neat, pretty decent.
The MC also has parents, and he's actually only like 2 months old, but because he's the actual reincarnation of the Demon Lord, he just aged 17 years, or however old he is.
Yeah.
It had kind of some dumb plots, like with the two girls that are like the core of something, and it was kind of pushing it with the actually I'm evil, actually I'm not evil kind of shit. But because the MC is who he is, it was still like entertaining enough that it kept me engaged. And then I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, especially when he fought like this demon that visited the time god, bought his power, and he was fighting the time god and said, you think you can stop me by pausing time? And then when this one guy's about to leave, he just cuts his legs off and he falls over like a sack of potatoes, and I was like, holy shit. And there's like a lot of gory stuff too, like in episode 1, he just deletes this guy from his existence 30 times and brings him back. And there are always kind of consequences to his spells, but because he's so overpowered and old that he can just avoid them.
Yeah.
Which is like...
It's a bit cheap, but it's also just fun. It's fun. It's a fun show.
It's excused enough that I can accept it, because at least it makes me think there was some thought put into it. It's just kind of the feel of the show. It was enough thought put into it that I can accept it as what it is, and I had fun and I enjoyed it audiovisually. Most important thing in anime, audio visuals. Yeah, and I think I even like enjoyed it more than shows like Otome Game this year, because in Otome Game I was actually annoyed sometimes by how stupid the MC is. While I thought in this show the MC wasn't dumb, he was like intelligent. He was actually the most intelligent of the entire show.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Oh yeah, and if you're tired, like just like me, of LN adaptations that have one season, never a continuation, and cliffhanger you on bullshit, this show feels actually complete.
Very nice.
It has no loose arcs. Like every arc introduced ends in the show.
I don't know if the light novels are still going or not, but like if they ended there, I feel like that would be a earned climax.
Yeah, same kind of with the other hero show you watched.
Shincho Yusha.
What is it called? Yeah, Shincho Yusha also felt like complete by its end, even though the LN is ongoing, which we don't.
Light novels never end.
They just keep going for no reason. But yeah, if you want something that feels complete and is cool and makes you remember why you sometimes like weird anime that make no sense, this is the one to go for. If you actually care to watch it, because you can do other stuff.
It's not for everyone, really. And just because it was the best show of the past season doesn't mean it's one of the best shows in the grander scheme of things, because the past season was the worst anime season that we've seen.
The worst of all time. The actual worst of all time for me, because I've been watching anime since 2007, somewhat, so 2007, 2008, and seasonal since 2012. So I watched seasonals when Fate Zero was airing, by the way, and this was the worst season I've seen, by far. I haven't made my spreadsheet yet, but I assume it's gonna be like a 4.
When I say best of the season, I'm obviously not including ReZero, because it's simply not fair.
Yeah, we generally don't count sequels. I'm also the only one who watched the Agretsuko season 3, which I liked. So if you're a fan of that, it's good. Consistently good, actually. Like every season I have like, a new show I can binge and give a good 7. Strong 7 every time. And that's worth something, it's something being consistently good. That makes me happy. Yeah, and that was the seasonal roundup.
I feel satisfied with what we've talked about. More satisfied than with the anime season.
Yeah, me too. It's nice to have some closure on something.
Definitely.
We already have like 1 hour 20 minutes.
Yes.
Do we want to talk? Yeah, we keep the rest for the next time, I think. Twitter drama, basically. I'll keep the Twitter drama episode for next time.
Well, I don't want to talk much about Twitter drama.
No, I don't mean actual drama, I just mean social etiquette online. But we'll do this next time. Well, that was it for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, hopefully soon. You say goodbye still.
Yes, this was our first attempt. I hope there was some valuable insights found in our rambling. And until next time. Bye.
Bye.